Welcome to UserAndI, the channel where I explore all things UX and UI design. And today I'm going to be designing some carousel cards, and I'm going to talk you through my process and why I did what I did. So let's get started. So here I am trying to make a custom shape. I'm actually going for the shape that we have on stamps here in the UK, and I needed to find a really creative way to do that. So I made a few circles, I'm aligning them around the edge of the rectangle, and what I'm going to do is subtract that from the shape of the rectangle itself. But first I've got to flatten these shapes or it won't work, which gives us a nice little stamp shape or a nice outline. And here I am just adding a drop shadow just to lift off the page a little bit. Then I wanted to make a area where I can put maybe an image in. Then I need to change the background just so I can see where the tile started and where it ended. Next, of course, we need our visual cues to the user, letting them know just how many carousel tiles there are. And I didn't want to go for the typical fade out here, I did want to give it a bit more interest, so I've scaled down the tiles that aren't selected and I've made those transparent as well, just to make it look a bit more exciting than the usual. Next I'm going in with my title. Choice of font here is a sans serif font. I think that's Lato. And just some example of text for now, just to get it in so I know how it looks as I continue designing. Next, going over my call to action. Now, of course, if you've ever watched a video on my channel, you know I'm a really big fan of rounded edges, so that's exactly what's coming next. Okay, so it's coming together, taking shape. Next we go in with our images, and I really wanted illustrations here just to lift off the page a little bit more. I didn't really want a real life image, but illustrations have a typical feel, and that's what I was going for the tile. Next it's positioning and scaling down, and I think where you crop an image is really important in terms of what you want to show to the user. So it's a step that shouldn't be taken lightly when it comes to imagery. Now I had an active color for the call to action. I really wanted to use that to direct the user's eyes to the tiles, to the visual cues of the carousel, and then back to the call to action. And then of course just adding in some example text. I think it's important to remember in all our designs that language is also a part of UX. It's always going to be a part of UX. It's not a step we should be skipping, even if we're not great at it. So at this point I was quite happy with the call to action, but I did feel it looked a bit plain. So I go in here and jazz up a tiny bit. It's not the outcome I wanted, but I was happy with it when I completed it. It was sort of what I was going for. There you go, you see how it just lifts the call to action off the page? It's not a huge detail, but it does the job. It doesn't make it look so flat anymore, because this is quite a soft design itself. And then experimenting with color because I wasn't too happy with that. And then after I was happy, it was time to put together the other steps of the carousel. I'd be really curious to find out what you guys would have done differently at this point. How do you feel about the stamp design? Do you think it's creative? Do you think it's a bit boring? What would you have done differently? And would you have used any different images? Because I quite like the way the illustrations work with the style of the carousel tower. I think they really work, they really match. And this is more for presentation purposes. I wanted to lift the center tile off the page a little bit. Looking at it as a whole, I didn't think the blue was the best color to go with at this point. So I'm just having an absolute nightmare trying to figure out how to select these custom shapes that I've made, because they're not quite just a rectangle, they're the remainder of the shapes after they've been cut out of the rectangle. course, I finally find my bearings, and then I start experimenting with the colors. And there we have it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next episode.